motion to come out of executive session?
So move.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We're in executive session to meet with legal counsel regarding the lead agency status for the Alpine project. No votes were.
You should know for the record that the state is
Oh, he left approximately 9:30, correct?
Yeah.
If needed for the record, but, okay. Really, it was that long, huh? Okay. Yeah, and so there was no votes taken in executive session. So now that we're out of executive session at this point, need to discuss the Alpine project and the lead agency status. Had a lengthy discussion with council regarding this, and we've identified 11 issues that need to be addressed. So the first item is, I guess, that whether or not we're going to, if we're going to object or consent to the lead agency status at this point. So what do we, what's our, what would everybody like to do? Allow the zoning board to be lead agency at this point?
Yes.
Okay, so somebody make a motion to,
Make a motion for zoning to take the agency on the project.
okay, so motion's made.
I'll second.
Second, all right, before we go to vote on the discussion, we going to send them a letter based upon these items that we had just discussed, which I'll read off in a minute. Okay? All right, so with that said, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so motion carries. So, Malcolm, I guess you're gonna draft this letter for us?
Sure.
And provide it to us for review prior to sending it to the ZBA?
Yes.
Okay. So, on these items that we were discussing, the first item is obviously, the question has arisen whether or not this is being a proposed subdivision, as the plans kind of lead us to think that this is going to be a subdivision of property. If so, that increases the density to 17 units per acre, which the board feels is very excessive. Second item is the density that they've applied for based upon the entire lot is calculated at 150% increase of what's allowed currently. The board feels that that this density as well is, you know, excessive in nature. The third item being the density, if it's given, if the zoning variance is given for the density that they requested, what precedent does this have on future projects? And we think that the zoning board needs to be aware of that because this could potentially create other issues in other parts of the town. Fourth item was visual impact on the adjacent properties due to the excessive heights. This really needs to be looked at because potentially that, you know, with neighbors close by, you know, these buildings could be towering up over their properties. The parking variances. So parking variances could constrain the ability of the planning board in the future. You know, normally we have discretion on parking. This can kind of create an issue on projects going forward as well. Cut and fill, how this has affected the height of the building. They need to take a hard look and see if they possibly can lower the heights of the building by cutting more or filling more in other areas. Lighting impacts on neighboring properties due to the increased heights of the buildings. How much light is going to shed off of these buildings into the neighbors' backyards. The noise impacts on the adjacent residential properties. Will there be an impact? 9, the increase in population, what effect will that have on public transportation?
What access will this have to public
Yeah, what they'll have access to, correct. As well as pedestrian access from, the next item would have been pedestrian access from Route 9 to the site itself. Will they be able to provide that, or will they be providing that? And then blasting, if necessary, what effects will that have on the adjacent properties, and their property itself? So that totals up to 11 different items that we had discussed in the in executive session that we show as concerns with the secret process, and that if they're going to take on the lead agency status, they need to look at all those items and address them objectively. Is everybody in agreement? Okay. All right. So with that, you'll draft the letter, give it to the board for review, and then,
Did you take a formal vote yet?
oh yeah, we did, didn't we? That was the first part.
Yeah.
Based upon these 11. So we've agreed to allow that, we did vote on lead agency.
Yeah.
Well, before we went to vote, I said, based upon the conditions that we talked about in the other room. And then I kind of reviewed the conditions after the
Okay,
fact. We
that's
did it kind of reverse.
Exactly. Okay.
Right. But I kind of caught it before we voted on it. That's why I wanted to say that based upon.
So the vote would be to agree with the ZBA serving as lead agency with a letter from the planning board expressing the conditions just
Conditions.
noted.
Correct.
Our concerns,
Yeah. All right. So with that, everybody was in favor of that. Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about tonight, or you guys had enough?
Counting sheep?
That's not enough, yeah.
All right, with that, somebody wants to make a motion to adjourn?
Close.
All right.
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
No, let's stay home.